Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the lab. We're back with another episode of An Evening With, and today I have my good friend Aaron Artiaga with me. Aaron,
Hey,
how's it going?
what up, my guy? How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. How's quarantine been?
You know, same as everybody else, hunkered down, chilling.
Yeah, for sure. Well, today we're actually gonna be talking about Parasite. It was my favorite movie of 2019. There's a whole list of great movies from 2019, but Parasite definitely took the cake for me. Have you seen that movie, Aaron?
Yep, I saw it about a month ago.
Also, you saw it kind
Uh,
of after the Oscar hype and all that.
Yeah, I was like one of the late. I just heard all the hype about it, so I was like, let me just check this out, and it was good. It was good. I liked it. I liked the majority of the movie.
Majority, yeah. For me, it was definitely the most original story that I saw.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, coming out of 2019. Oh man, where to begin, right? Because this movie it has so much symbolism and so much going on, and you're talking about how you didn't like all of it. I mean, did you like the beginning? Did you like the end? Like, how would you describe your first
Well,
impressions?
like the whole, like the beginning of the movie, like the storytelling, the acting was just phenomenal. The way the movie was shot was great.
Hmm.
Like all up until the end of the movie, it was just too. It was not like the rest of the movie where it just threw me off. It was one of
Hmm.
those. I was just like, what? Like when it ended, it was one of those like I didn't I didn't like the ending, but the rest of the
Yeah,
movie was really good.
yeah. And I think the ending, a lot of people, it might lose some people, right? Because it got really fantastical.
Yeah,
It really was out there in terms of twists and turns for the story. Because I'm sure, as most of us, when we first watched it, we're thinking, "Oh, this is really grounded. This is really funny. What am I supposed to expect from this?" Because everyone, as you saw, you heard all this hype, so you're probably thinking, why is it so hype? What's gonna happen? It seems really chill. And for
yeah,
me, when I first heard about it, I heard about it because it came out of Sundance
yeah.
last year, and I didn't want to know anything else from that. Watched Parasite. Parasite came out of Sundance. It was great. Watch it. That's all I went into the movie thinking and knowing. So I had little to no hype aside from Sundance hype. But
Yeah.
for you probably felt different, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I just heard all the hype like on Twitter and stuff. Like one of my friends on Twitter was like saying like, "Oh, it's like the greatest movie ever," and then my other friend was saying the same thing, and I was like, "All right, let me check this out." And I
Yeah,
watched
yeah.
it. Like I didn't like read up like into it beforehand. I just was like, let me just go into this blind. Like I didn't want to. Like normally I'll look up like okay, like the plot summary and all that, but I was like, let me just watch it, open mind or whatever. And like it was great. I was watching it. I was like, damn, this looks good. Like you could just tell the symbolism of it was like real nice and flowing. Like it was a dope movie.
Hmm.
And just that ending was kind of just a little too much for me.
Yeah, no, yeah. Let's get into it. It was directed by, I'm gonna butcher the name, and I'm gonna keep it really simple because I'm
Bong
butcher
Joon
the name.
Ho.
Bong Joon Ho,
Yeah, there you go.
and he has a laundry list of great films. He's been in the game for a long time,
Yeah,
and a lot of his kind of inspirations, his biggest inspiration is Quentin Tarantino, and I think you can kind of see some of that fantastical violence in this film. I used fantastical twice now, but he does have some stylized violence in this film
yeah.
that probably was a curveball, probably threw a wrench in there because we'll get into the end for sure. But starting off, we just kind of are opened up to this world with a Korean family,
Yeah.
and they're a poor Korean family. You have to like walk downstairs to get into their little hole of a house.
Like a basement apartment. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I like
pizza
how they
boxes
create that
everywhere.
world like in the beginning. It's kind of cool.
Hmm.
Like when the windows open and he's like, they're fumigating. He's like, oh, close the windows. Like, no, no, leave it open. Get free
Because it'll kill the
fumigation.
bugs.
I'm like, damn,
Yeah,
that's so
yeah, that's
fun.
and then their bathroom too. It's like you have to go into this little crouch position if you want to sit
Got
on
the
the toilet.
toilet upstairs. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's awkward too. And they seem like they're hard workers, right? Because they're doing this pizza thing. They have to fold a bunch of pizza boxes, and they're trying to do it in a certain amount of time. But they're low key lazy because some of the boxes are pretty flimsy.
Well, that's what the lady said. Like when they came back to pick up the boxes, they were just like, she's like, I can't do anything with these. But I feel like the sister, the daughter or whatever, like she was
Hmm.
probably the most hardworking, and the son looked like he was trying to find the easy way out, which he ended up getting lucky because his friend was like studying abroad. So I like how
Yeah.
that kind of played out, and you're like, oh, okay. Like at first, I didn't. I didn't know that the whole family was gonna be involved, like within the whole like
Mm-hmm.
infiltrating the family.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought it was just gonna be the son, and then you're like, okay, like, and then but then like you gotta get those like hints where like they're like, okay, oh, like we need an art teacher, and then she's like, okay, like the daughter is like this hacking like art like crazy, you know, and
Oh
then
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like it's like a snowball. Where like, okay, now like you can just see how they want to get the whole family involved. It's kind of cool. I would even
Yeah.
consider it like when I was watching it, like afterwards, it's kind of like heist, like a heist film in a way, like just
Mm-hmm.
because like in a heist film, like everything needs to be like work perfect. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that aspect of it. I think that's why I like the movie a lot, like to begin with, just because it reminded me of a heist film.
Oh, definitely.
Like,
And the
you know,
heist was stealing these jobs, right?
exactly, like infiltrating, and then like obviously like the whole family is making money off this family
Yeah. Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
like legal way, but like in the wrong way too, because they made these other people lose their jobs.
A shady way to get in.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
only they know that.
Right. Right. In the exactly. And,
Yeah,
and you're right. The sister we learned early on, she's a damn brain. She can do everything. She got she hasn't gone to university.
yeah,
The son's attempted a couple times, but he never got in because he is lazy and he probably doesn't put
but
in
he's
the.
also super smart, which is why
He's a schemer.
yeah
Yeah.
his friend got him a
Exactly.
computer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. The son is the planner. He has ideas and he puts them into motion.
Yeah,
Where and then they kind of bank off of the other family and how what their skills are. The sister is just very. She's just a damn. She's a genius. She's super smart. She would probably get into university first try.
oh yeah, no
In the
question.
world, the men are still valued higher than the women,
Yeah,
and so the sister doesn't even get an attempt to go to university when the son's had like four.
yeah,
And we learned that the dad was once a wealthier man, but he lost his business because of bad
yeah,
business models or whatever it is.
that's right.
Yeah, yeah, but you're absolutely right. So the plan is the son gets lucky. His friend comes and he's like, hey, I'll put a good word for you. You can tutor this rich family for me so you can get some money.
Mm-hmm.
And the son, of course, jumps at the opportunity. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but that's a income, right? It's a revenue source. It's a source of income for him and the family. And then he thinks, wait a minute. Well, we don't even know what he thinks yet, but he's like, okay, cool, I'll do it. He goes, tricks the family. His sister forges a document for him.
Yeah.
Like you said, the son kind of does a weird thing where he drops underwear in the limo of the driver that's going to drop him off.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. And we're like, as when I
Like
first watched, mm-hmm.
when that happened, I thought they were trying to make it seem like the daughter like had sex with him in the car.
Right.
But when they asked
Oh,
her,
that was the daughter. That was the daughter. My fault. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
remember the daughter, like the driver gave the daughter a ride home after, like she gave the kid the art lesson.
Mm-hmm.
But it was funny because like I thought they were gonna play that route, like, oh yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
he did this to me, whatever, in the car. But then when they asked the daughter, like, oh, like what happened with what happened after he dropped you off or whatever, and she was just like, oh, he just dropped me off. I was like, wait, what? Like it confused me because I was like, oh, I thought she was gonna say like, yeah, like he tried to take advantage of me or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I thought the same. And I'm getting ahead of myself. But the son, after he was okay to be the tutor,
Yeah.
the mom was like, he tricked the mom and he said, actually, I know someone
Yeah,
who's
the
an art tutor and I see how your son's very creative. The son is kind of, he went through a traumatic experience. He saw a ghost, which we can talk
yeah,
about later.
that's the good part.
Yeah, that's definitely the good part. But so, and the mom's, bless her
Very
heart.
gullible and like just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's very gullible. She's probably on drugs because when we first see her, she's like asleep outside on the table.
Oh yeah.
But she's a super, super sweet woman. You can tell that
Yeah.
she has a good heart. She wants to do what's best for her family. But she has to depend on these tutors to help her children. So the son's in and he gets his sister, the art tutor, to go in. And the sister is a total badass because she's like, I need to be alone with him.
Yeah.
The mom's freaking out. She's like, no, my son's gonna eat you alive. 15 minutes later, the mom checks in, and that little boy is eating out of the palm of the sister's hand. The young Kim girl, she's just cracking the whip on the kid, and the mom's obviously impressed, and so
She's the first one to be tough on him. You know what I mean? Like he's probably grown up so easy where he gets everything his way, and then the daughter comes in. She's like, no, this is how it's gonna happen. He's like, oh, kid's probably scared.
Oh, for sure, a powerful woman like that.
Yeah.
I'd be terrified too. And so you're right. Then because she's a woman and they want to be formal, they drive her home. And I was thinking the same thing. She leaves her panties or a pair of panties.
Yeah.
And we're probably thinking, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh snap, is she gonna like rat on the driver saying, oh, he took advantage of me? But she doesn't. She actually just leaves him there.
So like that make the family think that like he used the car for something else? That's what I got kind of. I was like, wait, like why would they just fire him because of that?
Because it's their car that he's driving. He's just a driver, right?
Get
So
you.
if you hired a driver and at first you find some like panties in the back, you're gonna be, as the wife, you probably think one or two things. Either my husband's having an affair or the driver is doing some shady stuff.
Oh, that's why he fired him. So like there wouldn't be any questions asked. Yeah.
Exactly. So
The
they
wife never
fired
even found out. Right.
hmm
Okay, that's right. The wife never found out. So he
exactly.
fired him, and then like I know a driver.
Yeah. And then the sister's like, oh wait, I know somebody from an agency.
Yeah.
He's older, but he's reliable.
Yeah. That's funny.
And yeah, now that, like you said, the plan keeps coming in. Now they infiltrate the driver, so they give their dad the job, forge a bunch of stuff from him, and he's now the driver for the father,
Yeah.
the wealthy park father.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, it's pretty ingenious how they do it.
And they have to figure out how to get the mom in now. You already
Yeah,
know, like, okay, like the only one left is the maid.
exactly. So we get introduced to the maid who seems to be just running the show at the house, right? She's on top of everything. She's the maid, but she's also kind of like the leader of the house, the
Yeah.
guardian, if you will.
Yeah. Well, she was already there. She was there before the family was even there with the architect guy. I think that
hmm
on there before.
She was with the previous, and that plays a role later, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like everything just ties. I like that. It's kind of dope.
So cohesive. How, okay, cool. We need to get rid of the guardian. How are we going to do that?
Yeah.
So they devise a plan to get rid of the maid, the guardian of the house, and they're so clever. They make it seem like she is sick and she's gonna get the kids sick, because why else would they fire her, right? Why else are the parents gonna
Yeah.
fire
So they lied about the tuberculosis, and then the dad. How did they find out about the peach allergy? Was it peaches that she was allergic to?
right. So we
That's
find out
how they got her out, like how they got her to look like she was sick. Remember?
I think it was the kids were allergic to peaches. That's why you can never. Was it the kids or her? Because
No, it was her, but
it was her.
I think she made it seem like the kids were allergic to peaches or something like that. And
Oh,
then they found that out
mm-hmm,
later, like that
mm-hmm.
she can't, like the peach fuzz, like the fuzz of the peach. That's why like they get like that thing and they spray it like on her neck or whatever. And then
Yeah.
she physically looks sick. So then the mom's like, wait, what? Like she looks like she does have tuberculosis. And then they put the cough, like when she coughs they put like the ketchup or whatever it was in the trash can, looks like blood. So then everybody
Yeah.
like she's sick, and then obviously the mom's, like you said, trying to do the best for her kids. So she's like, okay, this lady can't work here anymore.
Mm-hmm. And I remember now. They asked, why aren't there peaches in the house? And then that's when they said the maid is allergic, so we can't have it.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think the daughter ended up saying that. The
Mm-hmm.
rich family's daughter.
Yes, the park daughter,
The Park family daughter. She's the one I think that broke it to
the
the,
son.
the son.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
She
how
broke it to the Kim son. Mm-hmm.
they devised
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That was dope.
That was, and it's so cool. So the dad, the poor dad, we'll call him Mr. Kim. So he sees the maid at the hospital and takes a picture and
Oh,
shows it to
oh,
Mr. Park, right? And then so they piece together these puzzles. So the mom, they don't want to just straight up tell the mom she's sick.
like, oh yeah, I remember he took the selfie. He's like, oh, I think this is the maid, and then she's like, oh, she's at the hospital now. Like, oh, hell no.
Just putting that puzzle together so the mom can come to the conclusion, yeah, you gotta go.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. And then
Yeah,
the dad is like, oh, I know somebody now. They all know somebody.
they all
That's
know
why I find that.
somebody.
I mean, I guess you wouldn't be suspicious if someone was like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I know somebody, but like everyone, like, they all know someone. I guess it's just word of mouth, but
Yeah. I mean, it's convenient that the workers know someone, but probably in that world, because I mean, we grew up in America, so it's You know, you can go to agencies and do your thing, but if you're gonna trust someone to be around your kids, you probably want someone that's recommended.
Yeah, true.
And someone who's in the working class probably knows other working class people, right?
Definitely.
So that's why it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, a tutor probably knows a tutor, and they know a driver. And of course, if a driver is a working class, he probably knows someone that's in the maid industry, or at least how convenient that they know. So yeah, now the whole family has infiltrated the Parks, and so the mom, the dad, the daughter, and the son, they're all working for the family. Like the movie title, right? They're leeching off the rich. They're being the parasites in this relationship. But the rich are using the poor, right? Because the mom can't take care of the kids. She can't cook.
Can't cook. The dad's at work. They can't tutor their own kids. It looks like they're both using each other. But I felt, but who gets the better end of the stick would be Parks, that's the poor family, right?
No, the Parks is the rich family.
The Parks is okay. So the Kims would say the Kims would get the better end of that deal because they're the ones making the money from them.
Yeah, but it's probably crumbs for the Parks, right? Because they, they can afford, if you can afford two tutors, two individual tutors, a full-time maid and a full-time driver, you're probably really up there. And yeah, we learned that the dad's like super, super wealthy.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, but I like what you said. It's so cohesive, right? Everything just falls into place like a heist film would.
Yeah.
It once A happens, we can get to B to C to D all the way to Z. And it's so clever, and it's so funny too, because I don't know, the daughter was a standout for me when it came to the comedy, because she's like cracking the whip. She's crushing the little kid in learning and doing all this stuff, but then she doesn't take any crap from anyone else. It's really, really cool.
I know. Yeah, and I like the part like when they're all just like chilling, like when the Park family goes, or with the Kim family. Okay, who's the rich ones?
The rich is the Park.
Park.
You got it. And the poor is the Kim.
Okay, so when the Park family goes like camping, and they're all just like chilling in the house, like at that point, you're just like, okay, like, well, what's gonna happen now? Like are they just gonna get like, so obviously something has to happen at that point, like soon, because you're like, okay, like they did what they wanted to do, like now what? Like where does it come? Like they got in, like, that's it. Like what? Now what? So then that's when like the doorbell rings. And you're just like, what? And then you see that's a lady maid, and then that's when the movie you're like, oh, okay, something's about to go down now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's kind of, oh man. At this point too, we also learned that the Kims have a specific smell about them. The poor have a smell, right?
Yeah, at least the dad does, because he's talking about like he's driving or something, and like he just keeps saying like the smells. Like, can you roll the window down? Like, it smells in here. Smells like, I think he said it smells like the subway or something like that. I think it was. Yeah, and you could just, I don't know. He mentioned it. He says it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, it definitely gets to the rich dad, and even the son kind of notices it too, right? Because the rich Park son goes, "Oh, you smell like the maid. You smell like."
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, because more symbolism. Like the poor look a certain way, they smell a certain way, they are a certain way, and when you're rich, you're just better.
Yeah, and then like when they're hiding under the table, and then the husband's like, you know that, and like he kind of says it smells like that smell again, and then that's what you can see his dad's face again. You just see it in his face every time he says it. He's just like, oh crap, or like, oh damn, you know what I mean?
I think the dad's kind of pissed too, because he was wealthier. He wasn't always poor, so to be kind of like talked down to, he probably doesn't take that well.
That's true too. Yeah, because he got that glimpse of being successful, so he knows. But who knows if he was like that when he was successful too? But still, like it wouldn't feel good if you're like at one point really successful and like you go down like to the level that they're at, and then someone's like, you know what I mean? Like they talk down on me. You're like, well, I used to be kind of where you were at one point, but
yeah, exactly. And this is a good scene too, because like you said, at the point where the Parks left and the maid comes back, and the old maid, and she's like, I need to come in.
I was so mad when they let her in. Why are you letting her in the house? Like that makes zero sense to me. It made no sense to me. I was like, I was mad at the TV. I was like, why are they letting, like, that doesn't make sense. Like everyone's in the house, just be like, oh yeah, come back another day, or like come back tomorrow. And then the maid's like, oh, like I needed like it's an emergency or whatever. So I was just like, oh my god, that's when you knew something was gonna happen. I thought she was gonna like go in and like start killing everybody. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
You had zero idea about that under basement.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even know about that yet. So like that's why like that just threw me off completely. When she opened the door and you're just like, what? Where's she going? And just like downstairs, right, left. Like it seemed like it was going forever. You're like, oh.
You see her pushing the wall, like pushing a cabinet. She's like one hand's on like a wall, and she's like trying to kick a cabinet, and you're like, what is this woman doing?
Oh, right. When she's like on the wall, like hanging.
Yeah,
She's
it
like,
was nuts.
Come help me. And then they help her and it opens and she just runs. And that's when everyone's like, oh. So my question is, did the lady, like, where did she live when she was in the house? Did she live down there?
I think she lived in the house.
Okay. So then the husband, the old maid's husband, basically lived downstairs because he had nowhere to live.
Right, because remember, so we come to find out that the maid was housing her, the old maid was housing her husband down in a level below the basement that, of course, only she knew because she knew the architect.
Yeah.
And she knew the architecture of that house.
Bunker, yeah.
Yes, the house was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So she knew that she could hide her husband down there because they owed a lot of money to what sounded like some type of mob or loan shark or things like that. He was wanted.
Okay.
So she
I think that's where I missed. I was like, why is he? That's what I missed. Okay, so they owe money to somebody.
Yeah, so they had to hide him.
Why does he live down there? I did that. I wasn't understanding that, but that makes sense.
Yeah, so he couldn't just be out and about because they'll be looking for him or looking for her. Yeah. But if she was always alone and she basically said like he died, no one would, like everyone would believe her because he's nowhere to be seen. No one's seen her for years. Exactly. So we come to find out that she's housing him down there for, years, feeding him scraps and doing this and that. And you're kind of just like, what's about to happen? Because I was thinking the same thing. Like, don't let that old maid in. She's going to kill you because she's probably pissed since you took her job.
There was another weird part, like before everything happened, when I think the Park, the mom, the Mrs. Park, you like remember she went to go grab something from the jars and it was like kind of empty. I can't. And then I think she asked the maid like, oh, like did you like take some of these or whatever? And she was just like, no. So I think that you kind of knew like, okay, like what's going on? But then later on, you kind of figured like, oh, okay, like the maid's husband was down there, like he would sneak up obviously and steal food. So like he must have taken whatever it was from the jar with. But obviously Miss Park was just like oblivious, like okay, whatever, like.
Oh, I guess I gotta order more.
So that was like a foreshadowing event there, a little bit, I would say, just because you're like, wait, like, well, who, like, if no one took it, like, I don't know, it was just like a weird little moment that obviously it made sense, like, later in the film.
Exactly, and then like later in the film, we kind of find out what the ghost was for the son, because the son had a traumatic.
That was crazy, because then because I remember the mom was saying like that he was traumatized from his birthday, like this and that, and like that's why he's like drawing like these weird things, and he's basically drawing the guy downstairs in the basement. Yeah, that thing was crazy when his eyes pop up. You're just like, oh,
great shot, right?
Yeah, you're like that's like, and it was crazy because like he looked like blue. They're like it was just like that, and it just went like up, and his eyes were like crazy.
And he has big eyes too, so it really stood out.
Yeah, that part was cool.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll find out later. And that's why they make such a big deal about the son's birthday. That's why they wanted to go camping, because he had a traumatic experience when he was younger.
Oh, so like every birthday they try to like go up and get you.
It has to be all out because they want the son to still be okay with having a birthday. Because can you imagine if on your birthday night, you had a birthday party, you sneak down, you're in the fridge, you're eating some cake, you look over in the hallway and you see like
eyes.
Yeah, well, you could only
I mean, basically a ghost to him, not knowing that there's some dude living in his basement.
So the son gets super traumatized. So now that's why they have to go to this camping trip, and they're out, and now we find out, okay, cool, there's a the husband's being housed in the basement for the maid. Oh snap. and the dang Kim family, they had such good luck, but now what happens? They all tumble down the basement stairway.
Oh yeah.
The old maid is like, wait a minute, you're the you're the new driver, and you're the tutor, and you're the
She
so the
figured
old
it out.
maid now knows, yo, y'all tricked the family so you can all live here, but you're a family, right?
That's when they kind of realized, like, okay, we got to get rid of her because we're losing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they basically, like, if she tells them or whatever, like, they're
They're
done.
screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're
that's when you're
absolutely
like,
screwed.
okay, like, what's gonna happen? And then she ends up going down the stairs.
Yeah,
Down the stairs.
there's a struggle. They're trying to do their thing, and they're up the stairs now, and the mom actually kicks. Well, wait, actually, before that, no. Yeah, I'm getting my timelines mixed up because we find out that it was raining in the campsite, so the Parks have to come home. But
Yeah.
before we get the phone call, after the struggle, the mom, Mrs. Kim of the poor family, kicks the maid down the stairs.
Yeah.
Seemingly, what seems to be like her death,
Yeah. You basically thought she died.
and that was the way to take care of the situation, right? Because now they'll just be locked down there,
Yeah.
and they have to deal with the Parks coming home early because it rained during the camping trip.
Then the Parks get there and the Kim family, like, they're all there, like, hiding.
They're hiding under that big couch, and this is another great moment of tension, right? Because they're all, scared that they're about to lose their jobs, going to get exposed, all this stuff. They just kicked a woman down the basement. She's probably dead.
You
And
got like
now
two things going on. Like, okay, like, which one are we gonna take care of first?
it's something. And what makes matters kind of worse is the son still wants to camp. So he wants to go into
Died.
the yard and camp.
And then the parents are like, "Oh, we'll just sleep on the couch," while the whole family is under the table. You're just like, okay, like, what's going? Like, then it's not gonna end. That was pretty suspenseful. That was
Mhm.
suspenseful, and they had to like get out. That was cool.
Yeah, so much good tension that we have, and of course, luckily nothing happens. The Parks sleep on the couch, but it's the next day when they get up and start moving around. The Kim family ducks out and makes it for their house.
When the kid was in the tent, remember the Morse code? Like the guy downstairs with the light. He was like, "Oh, the light's not working," or whatever. Like he thought it was an automatic light or something. Is that
Mhm.
when he was doing the Morse code? Because the kid, like,
Exactly.
because the whole camping, like him being like a, I don't know, like, I mean, I don't
Boy
know,
Scout.
yeah, Boy Scout, like in Korea or whatever. Like it kind of ties into that again, like, because he's like, oh, okay, like, oh, those are lights, like that's saying something. So I think he like writes down the dashes and the dots, and I forgot
Yeah.
exactly what the Morse code said,
Mm-hmm. I
but
forgot what it said too, but you're right, because the husband of the old maid has
yeah,
been sending Morse code every night to whoever is basically listening. I think he wanted to eventually reach the father,
yeah,
Mr. Park, but he's oblivious to it too because he's just worried about whatever he's worried about. But you're
yeah,
right, the son notices the Morse code.
yeah. But I don't know if he ever, I can't remember if he ever got the chance to tell anybody what the Morse code meant.
Right. No, the son never told anyone, but the Morse code does play into kind of the ending in a little bit.
Oh yeah, at the end.
Yeah. So the Kim family gets out of the house and they run home in the rain to come to see that their little basement house is completely flooded, uninhabitable,
Yeah,
and they have to go to like a neighborhood. It looks like a gymnasium or maybe it's a church or something.
yeah.
And they spend the night there because they can't go back home. They can't go to the Parks house, so they have to just kind of hang low for a bit.
Yeah, that was before. Was that before or after the whole camping thing?
So it was after they returned from camping,
Uh huh.
and I believe it was when the Parks fell asleep on the couch, so they ducked out. But the
Yeah,
mom,
it was raining like, yeah, it was
mhm,
raining, pouring rain.
yeah, it was pouring rain, and they left their window open. Remember, because they
Yeah,
had to leave their window open. And the mom of the poor family, Miss Kim, she stays back at the house because she's the maid, so she has to make sure
yeah,
everything's in line. But yeah, so it's the dad and the son and the daughter that return back home, see their house flooded, so they go stay in this community center overnight. And we could kind of see like the dad's pretty pissed off about everything. Now.
He's like a bitter, like he's just bitter now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like he feels like their plan is kind of falling apart. So he's like, he feels hopeless basically. Like there's not much else they can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess, yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's I don't know. I guess the ending, even though it was like very fantastical, but like now that we're talking about it, I guess it kind of it kind of it does tie together because like I mean I don't know if we want to talk about the ending yet, but
Yeah. 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 I mean, let's get into that. Well, let's get into to what happens next because, like you said, everything is so damn cohesive. That's why I love this story so much
yeah,
because they need their son to have a good birthday.
yeah,
So what do?
they go all out and have like this lawn party or whatever. Yeah,
They have a huge lawn party. They invite everyone, and they want the son to be a hero. So I don't know how appropriate it would be for an American version of this,
for the
but
Native
here they
American.
have, yeah, because they have a. I mean, it seems like Cowboys and Indians. That's the game that they want the son to play, where Mr. Kim, the father of the poor family, is the evil Indian,
Oh yeah,
and
he made
the son's
him
gonna,
mess up. Yeah, that's right.
and the son's gonna be a good cowboy.
So that could play into another like oh why am I the evil Indian? I get you. So yeah, because like he's like being put down, being put down. You smell, you have this stench, you're being put down, and then you're the Indian and all this, and you feel hopeless. So I think so at the end, obviously, like when the Mr. Kim kills the Mr. Park,
Yeah,
I think it's more or less like just like him feeling hopeless and like what's lower than Mr. Kim is basically being dead.
yeah.
I
He
feel like
Mr.
that's why
Kim has
he's like,
hit rock bottom.
yeah. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna kill Mr. Park then. You know what I mean? He's been
Yep.
putting me down the whole time. Well, if you're dead, then you're below me.
Yep, exactly. He snaps. So during the party, it's you can just feel the tension.
Yeah,
Mr. Kim's super pissed off. He doesn't want to play the Indian. He's fighting back. He's snapping back. And Mr. Park goes, "No, I'm paying you. You need to do this."
yeah,
And so he kind of has no choice. Meanwhile, we found out as we're watching the movie, the daughter is madly in love with the Kim boy,
yeah,
and that plays a huge role here because the son, the one who planned all this,
yeah.
is walking downstairs to find out that the basement's open,
Oh,
and
that gets hit. Yeah,
yeah, and so he gets hit by that big rock, his big gift that his friend gave him, because that's the only thing he kept from when their house was flooded.
yeah,
So that the locked up guy, the old maid's husband who was locked up, he
yeah,
basically what looks like kills the son with his big old rock. He starts smashing his head,
yeah, yeah,
and the daughter goes nuts. So she picks up like what seems like a dead body, and she's kind of carrying him around.
yeah.
That guy who's pissed off because they just, the Kim family killed his wife by kicking her down the stairs. He's pissed off, so he grabs a knife and he goes and stabs the Kim daughter.
That's where I was like, why did he
Uh-huh.
like? That's why I was like, why did he kill her?
I think he wanted to kill all of them, and she was the first one that he saw because he saw the mom late.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that's when I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like it was just not expected at all for him to kill like her. It was just very random.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So he at first it seems like he kills the son, then he goes and stabs the daughter, and when the Park son, everything's going to shit right now, right? Because
Yeah,
the Park son sees him and he's like, "That's my ghost," and so he just faints.
yeah,
He faints, and the
and,
Kim mom goes and stabs the dude and is like fighting him because the mom is just she's a fiery little character. So she doesn't give any fuck. She's just fighting for her life. Her daughter's dying. She was stabbed. Everyone's freaking out. So she goes and kills the maid's husband. And this whole time now, like you said, Mr. Kim kills Mr. Park because Mr. Park is like, give me the keys. Since he has the keys, he's the driver. I need to get my son to safety. So
uh,
he cares more about his son than a dying girl
yeah,
because she's
yeah. And
poor.
his
So
son, yeah. And his son was just fainting. Like you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I think
exactly.
that's when I got to Mr. Kim. At that point, we were just like, yeah, I clicked for him. He's oh, this guy doesn't care. Like you know what I mean? He's selfish or whatever. But yeah, just
But
the whole part where the basement guy killed the daughter. I was
mm-hmm.
like, and then the fact that Mr. Kim like didn't kill that guy too. You know what I mean? Like he'd rather kill Mr. Park. You're like, wait, what? Like, I don't know. I would have killed the guy that just stabbed my daughter instead of, you know what I mean? Instead of the guy that's been paying me.
But his antagonist, right, is
Yeah.
that guy, is Mr. Park.
Yeah.
Mr. Kim has been, and we've been seeing it build, little jabs here and there
Yeah.
until this final moment where it's like, dude, this woman, this girl is dying. She was stabbed, but you care more about your son. And as a father, I'm not a father. You're a father. You could probably speak about this. But if your son faints,
Yeah.
you're probably, that's your priority. Your family's your priority. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure you would save the girl too.
Yeah.
But number one is probably your son.
Oh, for sure.
So I don't know how much I can fault Mr. Park because he knows how, not weak, but traumatized his son is. And he knows how frail his mental psyche is, right?
Yeah. Like he's already, yeah. Yeah, I know. Like that kid's going to be jacked up for years to come. That's crazy.
So he wants to save his son. Of course, you want to save everybody, but for the point of the movie, he wants to save his son. That pisses off Mr. Kim. So he takes the knife and kills Mr. Park.
Yeah.
And vanishes.
Yeah, that's the part where you're just like, oh. And then it makes sense because remember when the old maid came back to the house, she cut the wire to the TV, to the CC, like the camera in the garage or something. So like they thought he ran out to the garage, but the camera didn't work. So they never physically saw him run out of the garage. They just thought, but then later on, obviously, when you're like at the end, when you're reading or when he's reading the letter that he wrote, you're like, oh, he's in the house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mr. Kim stays in the basement because he knows that's the safest place to be. No one's going to look for him there. Unfortunately, his daughter did pass away from that man stabbing her.
Yeah.
And the son didn't die. He had some,
brain damage.
Yeah, he had some brain damage. And this, I think, is where a lot of people kind of were like iffy about the movie because we get this sequence, right? We get the sequence of the son.
But I think that's all in his head just because of the brain damage. He's hallucinating, I guess you could say, like what he wants to happen, but it's basically never going to happen because he has brain damage. Now it's like, oh, this is what I would have liked to happen, but
yeah, he wants to save his father.
Not realistic in the sense that it gives them hope. Whoever watching the movie, it gives them hope.
Exactly, and it kind of sucks too because, I mean, as the audience watching this, it doesn't seem like if you're kind of in that class, that lower poor class, it doesn't seem like you can get out of it.
Yeah.
So at least for me, when the son's having these visions about like growing up and saving his dad and buying the house so his dad can come out of the basement and they can be a family again, it, like you said, it's hopeful for the son, but as the audience, I felt kind of hopeless because the whole movie, it seems like the rich will be rich and the poor is going to stay poor. Yeah, and there's no way to make that jump, at least from what the movie has given me.
Yeah.
It seems like once you're born into a class, like it's impossible to get out of it.
Yeah. When I first saw the movie, I thought like the end, like I thought like it was real. Like I thought it was really happening until like kind of think about it after. You're like, oh wait, no, like there's no way that happened. Like okay, like just knowing how much that house probably cost, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
He didn't have an education, he didn't have anything. That's when I kind of realized like oh that wasn't real. Like that's in his head. Like that's he's playing out this fantasy of how to save his dad basically in his head. So I think that's, I mean, like, yeah, like the end I liked. I just didn't like the end before the end.
So you didn't like kind of the climax where the guy comes out of the basement and stabs the daughter?
Yeah, like the whole massacre type. Like, that's when I was just like what? Like, I don't, what?
Yeah, the whole movie.
Like, that was so dumb. Like, the rest of the movie was phenomenal, great. Everything was like perfect. But I guess, I mean, like, I don't know. Like,
you sound like Street Fighter.
Yeah, like
perfect.
They had to throw you in for that. Like, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And at the end, you're like, oh, okay. Like, it kind of made sense. I guess it was a good movie. I mean, I could see why. Obviously, it won Best Picture, and like the Sundance, like it won, I think, an award at or Cannes or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Won plenty of awards.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I want to ask a couple questions first. The first thing before I ask the questions, did you know that the whole house that was designed by the director, that's not an actual house. They built that house specifically for this movie.
Like just like the whole layout and stuff.
Everything, yeah.
So like
That's
the
cool.
house basically played. Because I remember like the stairs, like because they had that shot where it was like, and like they're walking up the stairs, like they did that shot a few times, where it's like it kind of like the rise in upper class, and then like yeah, it gives you like that sense. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it was like an actual house. It's kind of tight.
No. Even more symbolism, right? Like they built this specifically for these kind of moments to have this kind of symbolism
Yeah.
for the characters.
Yeah.
So that's the first. So then a question I want to ask you then. Doesn't that middle part, or before the end, the climax, when shit's going to hell and the dude comes out and stabs people and it's like a massacre and all that.
Yeah.
Don't you get a feel like that's what Tarantino probably would have done? Because it was really ultraviolet.
Yeah, because it's like like Kill Bill, where like start chopping heads off and stuff. You're like, wait, what? Like it just gets very violent. You're just like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. So yeah,
but it is current Tarantino like in that
Tarantino-esque.
Yeah.
So I mean, when I didn't know about it the first time I watched it, but it threw me off too. I was like, well, the movie is grounded the whole time, and now you throw in this like crazy murder scenes.
Yeah.
And then when I found out that the director loved Quentin Tarantino, I was like, oh.
So yeah, it was like a homage to him pretty much.
Oh, for sure. But then now talking about it again, have you kind of changed your mind? Like, okay, cool, maybe I like the movie more now, or is it still like, yeah, it was a great story, but that one part, it just sucks for me.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it. Like, I do like the movie a little bit more now. Like, it makes more sense just speaking about it like out loud. You know what I mean, with somebody. And obviously, you said I didn't know that he liked Tarantino like that. So it's kind of like he paid respects to him in a sense, like with that whole bloody, gory murder scene.
Ultraviolet.
Yeah, like everything just tied into it. So yeah, I mean the movie. I'm still like iffy about the ending, but it does make sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like they got away with it. Definitely. I don't know if
you did.
Yeah, like just the story. Like I don't know. It was very well put together because they got away with that scene. Like imagine you're watching like any other movie or whatever, and like it's just like normal, and it's just like kill, murder, slash, boom. You're just like, what?
Oh, for sure. They built it up to where it still made sense that there would be murder and there would be this thriller aspect and suspense and tension, because the whole movie there's a lot of tension. You have to watch it to feel it. But yeah, it's crazy how it still all worked as a whole.
Yeah.
At least that's why it was my favorite, because I was just like, this is every beat. It's like, man, it all ties together. It's all cohesive.
Yeah.
What an original, amazing story. And it had so much to say politically and in terms of society and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Like, it just talked about, like, class, wealth, like, the disparity between that. It was a good movie. I mean, just, I'm not going to say I didn't like the movie. Like, I liked the movie.
Yeah.
Just like what I'm saying, like, it was shot great. Acting was good. I don't think I've ever seen, like, any other Korean films that I, off the top
Train to
of my head.
Busan?
No, I don't think I've seen that.
You ever seen Train to Busan? The Wailing?
Next episode, we're going to do Train to
Yo, Train to Busan is a zombie. It's a Korean horror film. It's about zombies. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll save that for next time. But yeah. Oh man, there's a lot of Aaron. There's a lot of good ones.
I'll keep that in mind. I'll Google that later and try to find it.
All right, y'all heard it first. We're gonna have Train to Busan when Aaron comes back. But yeah, I appreciate your time, Aaron. Thanks so much for coming and talking about Parasite.
I got you.
Where can we find you these days?
At home.
on social media.
I don't know. My IG.
You cut out You're cutting out a little. It must be this quarantine time. Where can we find you on IG?
Aaron Art 91.
And you have a Twitter too, right?
Yeah, I don't know my Twitter handle though. I think if you search my name, look for my picture. We'll be
man.
On there.
What's the face you make on your Twitter picture though?
I don't know. I think you took the picture when we were in Portland.
Oh man,
I think it's that picture.
you
Yeah,
don't have facial hair back then though.
I don't. This is like a quarantine. I was supposed to shave today, but I'll just leave it for now, I guess.
No, for sure, for sure. Well, yeah, dude. That's gonna wrap up Parasite for this one. Thanks again, guys, for stopping by at the lab. You can find me at theory_labs on Instagram. Again, Theory Labs on YouTube. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Peace out. Peace out.
Stay well.